This is a question I've been asked by people that are new to building links, and especially if they're new to their SEO efforts on their own website and business. Now, when it comes to building backlinks, unfortunately we've moved on from the 90s where you could just stuff a page full of keywords, or even you could just build links from anywhere. Now, it's not as simple as just building volume. There are a lot of other factors at play here which have a knock-on effect of any link that you build, and it's the reason why spammy black cat link building is not going to work in the long term anyway. So here's some of the things you need to consider when you're building any kind of link. Now, first up is obviously relevancy. So how relevant is that link and the page that it's on to your own site and content? If it's not relevant, if the link is on a site where it just doesn't make any sense at all, if it's not even in the right language or whatever it is, it's not a good link. And the more contextually relevant that link is, the better it's going to be for your rankings and for metrics like CTR and even sales conversions. Now, don't forget, Google's algorithm is smart enough to figure out exactly what a piece of content is talking about and if it's actually relevant to where it's linking to. Next up is trust. Essentially what this could mean is, does the site you're getting a link from engage in its own spammy SEO practices or not? How good is its own link profile? You can use various tools to assess things like spam scores, trust scores, etc. However, it doesn't always give you an accurate picture by just using one tool, so you're probably better off making an overall assessment with a tool like SERPworks, or just quickly analysing the backlink profile with Ahrefs. You don't want to spend a lot of time doing this, but you just want to use your common sense and judgment. Also, authority. How authoritative is that link? For instance, getting a link from the New York Times versus just getting one on a local directory. Now, the New York Times one would obviously be much, much stronger purely from how established the site is. It has its own colossal link profile. It's continually getting natural links and the huge amount of traffic and engagement that it's receiving. However, I don't want you to obsess over authority too much. I see a lot of people doing this. Sometimes in the amount of time it takes them to get a link on a national or international publication, you could have built hundreds of links from lower authority sites and you could have reached your traffic and your ranking goals much faster by going for this slightly lower hanging fruit rather than trying to chase your tail over one link. Similarly, I don't want you to chase a certain DA, domain authority or page authority. Any metric like that will completely defocus you from what you're trying to do. You'll end up throwing out a lot of perfectly fine opportunities if it doesn't meet a certain metric, because you need to remember those metrics like DA are not perfect and they don't share the overall picture. It's a lot more complex than trying to hit a certain metric. Now, the last point I'm going to make is it natural? Is the link inserted and mentioned in a natural way on the site? A simple way to envision this is, does the link flow into the text easily and does it transition into it smoothly? If it seems to obstruct the article, if it has no relevance, if it just seems too promotional and try hard, it could be perceived as spammy. I would never advocate trying to push people into giving a link with a certain anchor text. That in itself does not look natural. For it to look truly natural, you need them to use their own judgment. Okay, you can guide them if you need to, but don't ever try to push for keyword anchors where it doesn't look natural. And I'm saying this while I'm looking at people building those best plumber in city links. Okay, sure, maybe used to work, but in the long term, that's not going to work. So really, my simple philosophy on this is, if you're following guidelines, if you're creating compelling, engaging content, i.e. link bait, and you're building relevant quality links, you will land up creating just the right type of links naturally anyway. However, the minute you start to look for a fast fix or shortcuts, you could land yourself in hot water. You're potentially setting yourself up to get a penalty or getting hammered in the rankings at the next update. So anyway, I just want to end the video there. I think that's just over 5 minutes, and happy link building.